YourLakeForkGuide. Welcome back to another episode of the Guides Network. And today, we're going to talk about a pretty juicy topic because there's a portion of this tactic that can draw you some of the biggest bites you'll ever get in your life. Today, we're going to talk about weedless swim baits. Alright, so let's talk about weedless swim baits. First, before we do that, if you're going to be around 1 week from this Friday, so 2 days from now, a week from that, if you're going to be in Emory, Texas, or in the Lake Fork area, we're going to have another free seminar at Lake Fork Tackle. So if you can be in the area, 6 p.m. on a Friday night, a week from this Friday, come by and see me. I'll be there. We'll have some other guys there talking as well. So it's completely free. Come up there and get you some bass fishing knowledge, ask questions, whatever you want to do, hang out, just talk shop a little bit. It's a pretty good deal. For the different types of weedless swim baits that I use, there's a few different ones. This is Kitech Fat Swing Impact. It's also Kickerfish Tail Slappers in the same mold. The Kickerfish bait has been discontinued. That's the only reason I'm fishing Kitech. If you can find the Kickerfish baits, I like them better. They're more firm, they're more hard up here, and it actually makes the tail wag a little different, a little wider swim, and of course, being a little tougher up here, it's a lot more durable as well. But that's probably the one I use the most. This is actually the big size in my hand right here. This is the 6-inch. I also use the 5-inch. The 5-inch is probably the one I use the most. I just had this one handy to show you. But use that color a lot right there, and then I use that color a lot right there. Those are basically just about the two colors that I stick to. And this one's rigged on one of those owner flashy swimmer hooks. I really like those flashy swimmer hooks. They kind of add a little bit different look to them, especially for fork where you get a lot of pressure. You do this, it'll be a little bit different look than what they're seeing most of the time. I also do throw them on the appropriate just belly weighted hook with no blade on it. For the 5-inch version, which is this one, I like to use a 5/0 EWG belly weighted hook. I usually get those in about 1/4 ounce on the 5/0 EWGs. This is a 6/0. I'm not sure. I think that weight right there is 3/8 on the 6/0. I use the 6/0 size for the 6-inch bait. Pretty easy, right? 5-inch, 5/0, 6/0, 6-inch. So that's how I'm setting that one up. Another one that I'm using that I'm really excited about because literally just started using this. And next week you guys are going to see a video that we've actually been shooting this morning, and it gets pretty nasty on this little guy right here. This is the 5-inch version of Heath Taylor's new Gizzard Shad weedless bait. He makes a big one too, but this 5-inch one is just smoking them today, and it's my first time throwing it. So I am all jacked up on Mountain Dew about this bait. That mimics the shad size profile that big fish like to eat on a lot of bodies of water in East Texas and across the country for that matter. And all these baits will be linked below, including this one. So be sure and hit that link below. Go check this out. This is a phenomenal new bait. And once you guys see that video next week, next Monday, I'll bet you'll be buying some of your own because this thing will catch them, I'm telling you. For that one, we're rigging that one on. I had it on a flashy swimmer first thing, and I couldn't get it to keel right. It didn't want to swim right on that flashy swimmer. I don't know if there was something to do with the balance or the drag, but this is the 6/0 1/4 ounce Owner Beast 6/0 1/4 ounce. That's what that is. That's the hook I'm throwing it on. Then the last one, maybe all of our favorites. Sucker's got teeth marks on it. something's been chewing on it. It's always a good sign. But Smash Tech Convict, the old standby, the original big weedless swim bait. This thing is a hammer. It catches. If you guys have been following the channel for a long time, like since last November, then you saw me and my buddy Andrew Grills put a smacking on him at Monticello on this thing. I don't throw this as often as the others, but when I really feel like there's big fish and big bait in the types of areas that we throw these weedless swim baits in, then that is 100% the best option you can get. That's the light hitch color, Smash Tech Convict. That thing is a hammer. I've got a flashy swimmer for that one too. Owner makes a beast 10-aught hook that's a flashy swimmer. That's a 1/2 ounce weight. I also like to throw it on a 10-aught Owner beast weightless with a few lead strips wrapped around it just to balance the bait. When you do that, you got to fish it super slow. But this way you can fish it kind of like a normal swim bait, and it does get bit. On the rest of the equipment for line on both, I'm using a 22-pound FHP FHP Flora Hybrid Pro from Lake Fork Tackle. It's their line series. It's their kind of copolymer Flora Hybrid type line, and it is some super strong line. I'm using that on all my swim baits, just because when I'm fishing these weedless swim baits, I'm fishing it around, you guys see right behind me, matted grass. I mean, I'm fishing around some really heavy cover, and you need a heavy line, but I don't like braid unless I absolutely have to. There are times when I will go to 50-pound braid if I'm fishing a lot of heavy stemmed vegetation like lily pads, gator grass, potato weed, cattails, stuff that just has really heavy stems to it. I will then go to 50-pound braid, but I like to use that Flora Hybrid Pro anytime I can get away with it. And today we're primarily fishing hydrilla flats, and so we're throwing FHP. Same line on both. For the rod, this is for the smaller ones, the 5-inch, the 6-inch, and this new, we've named this thing G Squared. We've nicknamed it G Squared. This is Gary Gizzard. We're going to call him G Squared from here on out. I don't know what Heath has actually named him. That might be a completely incorrect name, but I'm calling him G Squared from now on, so you can too. But the rod I'm throwing on G Squared, and then the Kitex on is the 7.2 medium heavy from Limit, the 5 series rod. That's what you want, something around 7 foot in the medium heavy. You want to give those fish a chance to really load up on that rod. You don't want too stiff of a rod, because they will hit this thing a lot of times without getting it. You'll feel them bump, and then they'll knock slack in your line, and you got to give them some time to really load that thing up. So you want a little bit of tip. So that medium heavy comes in handy. That 7.2 medium heavy from Limit is just, I think it's perfect. It works. It's got plenty of power to drive that big hook home, but it's got tip to let them load up on it. It is the ideal rod for throwing weedless swim baits. Now, on this big joker, it's a different game. I'm throwing the Limit 5 Series 711 extra heavy on my big Smash Tech Convict. This thing is a huge rod, but man, when you throw this bait, you got one thing in mind, and that's catching the biggest fish of your lifetime. And that being the case, I want the biggest rod of my lifetime. I want all the power I can have to handle that rod, getting up and out of all that thick cover, and reduce my chances of losing him in that grass, or whatever it may be, wood, whatever the heavy cover is that you're throwing. All right, let's talk about areas that we want to fish a weedless swim bait. There's really not too many shallow areas that are wrong for a weedless swim bait. It's not something they bite every day, but it is something they'll bite throughout the year in different phases. And when they get on it, they get on that, and they're on nothing else a lot of times. So it's important to keep an open mind. I do like to have heavy cover. That's the whole point of the weedless swim bait deal. As you see, we've got matted hydrilla all back in here, and that's primarily when we're fishing. The outside edges where that hydrilla breaks, we're fishing right alongside those mats and out in that scattered hydrilla, letting it get down in that thick stuff that's growing underneath. And that's what we're doing today. But lily pad fields, any kind of shallow water flat with a lot of vegetation with some openings in it, that is ideal for a weedless swim bait. I guess that's probably basically where I throw it. It's shallow water flats that have heavy vegetation, but there's openings and seams and creases. So, you know, maybe you got some hyacinth mats and some lily pads mixed in, and then there's a couple of little open areas where you can run that swim bait through there. That's perfect. This is the same thing. Hydrilla mats and then open pockets, and it spreads out on the outside edge, but there's still heavy cover down there. That's ideal. That's the type of areas that I want to look for to throw these weedless swim baits. A couple of the other things that you want to clue into is sunshine. Sunshine actually helps, in my opinion, helps the swim bait bite of all kinds, whatever kind of swim bait you're throwing. The weedless one's no different. In all swim baits, these fish will track these baits and follow them from a long ways off and stay with them for a long time. I can't tell you how many times today alone we had fish follow the bait all the way to the boat. They will absolutely chase a swim bait down and follow it forever and ever and ever. So sunlight is a big deal because this is such a visual thing. The further they can see it from, the more fish you can draw from. And the more fish get behind it looking at it, the more competitive they get, the better the chance that one of them is going to commit and drop the hammer on it. And that's where you get a lot of that bumping. They'll follow it and they'll bump it. They'll follow it and they'll bump it. And then when they get 3 or 4 of them around each other, one of them will come up there and just mollywop it. Wind is also a big deal. Wind moves bait around. We all know wind helps moving bait bites. It's no different with the weedless swim baits. So really right now what you got, this ripple on the water and the sunshine poking through these clouds, this is absolutely A-game perfect for throwing a weedless swim bait. These conditions that we have today probably has a lot to do with why we caught them the way we did, because we caught them today. Alright, that about covers the gear that we're using. That covers kind of what I'm looking for when I decide to throw a weedless swim bait. And now I'm going to get up and show you how I work this bait through this cover, how I retrieve it to get bites. You know, we talked about those fish like to follow these baits. So one of the most important factors is a long cast. You want to make as long cast as you can across these flats. Right here, we're on the edge of this grass, and I'm going to cast out there. And what you got is out there off the edge of this mat, you got a bunch of that hydrilla that's still growing. It just doesn't grow all the way to the surface. So we're going to throw it out there in this what looks like an open area and let it get down in there and work it through that grass. Long cast. Here's something that's important. You can hold it high and you can hold it low, but when you're fishing a weedless swim bait, you point the rod directly at the bait. Do not point it to the side. When you point that rod to the side, that bait will hang up in that grass worse than when you point right at it. When you point right at it, something about that angle, it helps that bait bulldog and nose its way through all that grass, and it'll just come right through it 9 times out of 10. You want to just point right at it. If you get caught up a little bit, just like right there, I'm hung on a little grass, just give it a little shake, just a little gentle shake. It's not a real violent snap like a chatterbait or a trap. You just want to gently shake that grass off. And then you point right back at it, because see, it's weedless. It has nothing to hang, so you don't have to go to jerking and snatching. Point right at it. Just keep it coming steady. Keep it coming steady. Now if I get a bite, I'm not going to just immediately set the hook. I like, if I can at all possible, I like to retrieve that bait with my rod up, and then I get a bite, I point at the fish, I slowly start reeling down, and as that rod starts to load up, as I start to feel that line tighten up, if it's heavy and he's there, I'll then go ahead and drill him. And when I say drill him, hit him hard. Bring it home. Bring the pain to him. And you see I just went through all that grass and that bait come back clean. Clean as a whistle right there. Alright, one more thing. When you see those fish go to schooling and they go to chasing bait over that flat, something that we employed a couple times today, you can burn that bait right on the surface. Hold your rod up and burn it and kill it. And burn it and kill it. Just like that, all the way back to the boat. And that'll really get them to kind of react. When they're really chasing bait, that'll draw their attention away from that bait and over to your bait, and they'll follow it. When you kill it, a lot of times, man, they'll hit it on that slack line, and you'll go to reel back up and you'll reel right into them. And when that happens, instead of setting the hook, it really doesn't work that way on this deal. So you'll burn it, burn it, burn it, let it fall. When you go to pick back up, you'll start reeling into them. Just lift and reel as fast as you can. You just got to pressure set it on that technique right there. It's the only way you can really do it. But you're burning that thing so fast and you got your rod tip up, it should load up nice, and then you just bear a little more pressure, it'll get that hook in them. Alright, let me show you one more thing about this. You know, I didn't cover this on the first cast. When I throw that bait out there, it's very important that you're getting in that grass. Now you don't want to get all the way down in it and bog up. You want the bait to be swimming free, but you want to be hitting a little bit of that grass. So it's important to control that speed with your reel handle and your rod tip. The higher you lift this rod, the higher that bait goes, the lower it goes. The faster you turn the reel, the higher the bait goes. The slower you turn the reel, the lower it goes. These baits, all these Weedless swim baits, will kick and swim at a very, very slow speed. So what you want to do is just slowly reel that thing. Just creep it along. Creep it along. Feel a little grass, just shake it up a little bit, speed it up a little bit, okay? Just like that. Come over some grass right there, I'll slow it back down. Get back down in there. That's how you do that. That's my retrieves. That's how I get the hook in them. And that's how we caught them all today on this bait. And we caught a bunch of them. This is a great technique. It works throughout the year. When you get the right conditions, you got a spread out grass flat, you got sunny, you got windy, pick up a Weedless swim bait, you will catch fish. Man, that's about it for Weedless swim baits. That's the full breakdown in depth on the Guides Network like we always do. Check out Smash Tech baits that are linked below. Check out those Ki-Tech baits. I like kickerfish better, but the Ki-Tech baits are very good too. Man, get you some, and like I said, if you've got a shallow flat with a lot of vegetation but some open areas to throw these baits in, and you've got sun and wind, pick up a Weedless swim bait. It will do you justice. You will not regret it. And we will see you guys next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. I think you just improved your score. I think I still got your phone. Yeah.